Beautiful. Thank you for joining me for a 60-minute Yin Yoga class. This is a floor-based class. It's beginner friendly. I will also provide modifications if you are pregnant or recently gave birth. All you need for this class is a yoga mat or carpeted area or both. And you don't need any fancy yoga props, but you might want a couple of blankets and pillows nearby. Again, no fancy yoga props, but just some household pillows or blankets. And in Yin Yoga, we will hold postures for long periods of time, like 3 to 5 minutes. You want to do about 70% of what you think you should be doing. If we were holding postures for like 1 minute or 30 seconds, right, I would usually tell you to push to your deepest point. In Yin Yoga, we hold postures for longer. We do a little bit less, but we end up feeling it more, right? So just keep that in mind as you practice. All right. So find yourself in a comfortable seated position. If you've not already, you can sit crisscross applesauce. You can sit in Sukhasana, easy pose with one foot in front of the other. And take a moment just to rock back and forth, side to side, and then sit up nice and tall. Take an inhale through your nose. And then exhale through your nose. Breathe in. And breathe out. It's very normal when we come to our yoga mat, to our yoga practice, that our mind is still elsewhere. So we're going to start with a very simple grounding technique that will help us to bring us into our body and into the present moment. It's called 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And anytime you're feeling like a little bit too in your head, like your thoughts are getting away from you, you can do this very simple grounding technique and it'll help you to just come back into your body, back into your breath. So we're going to start with 5 objects or things that you can see in your periphery. So an example would be, I'm going to look at my yoga mat and acknowledge that I can see my yoga mat. I'm looking at Harry Potter book 7 and I'm acknowledging that I am seeing Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows. All right, so 5 things in your periphery. Next, we're going to do 4 things that you can touch. And I encourage you to actually touch them for a moment, like I'm touching my carpet, and just feel what that feels like. Three things you can hear, and if you'd like, you can close your eyes so it's a little bit easier to hear. Two things you can smell. And one thing you can taste. A slow inhale through your nose, feel your chest rise. And a slow exhale through your nose, let your shoulders fall. Breathe in and empty out. Right. If your eyes are closed, you can open your eyes. And at any point in class, if you find that your mind is really wandering, you can return to one or all of those 5 senses. We're going to make our way onto our knees for our first posture of the day, a child's pose. So you're going to sit back with your knees and feet together. We're going to do some hip openers later on in class. So you could do a really wide-legged child's pose. You can have your knees together, or I'm going to pick a middle ground where my knees are a little bit apart, but knowing, again, telling you that we're going to do more hip openers later, this will not be the only one. So you don't need to do a super wide child's pose. If you are pregnant, I do recommend opening your knees, but again, doesn't have to be the widest child's pose of all time. Okay, from here, you're going to put your hands on the floor and walk your hands forward. Forehead to floor, arms long, neck long. We're going to hold this posture for 5 minutes, but every minute we're going to move our upper body to warm up the spine. So in this first iteration with the arms long in front of us and the hips sinking down, I'll offer some uses of props that might make this posture more accessible. If you have tight toes, ankles, or knees, you are welcome to roll up your mat or place a small blanket underneath one of those delicate lower body joints so that there's more padding there. If having your arms long overhead is too much for your shoulder, maybe you have shoulder injury, right? You can have your arms down by your side with palms facing up in what's called Fetal Pose. If your hips are super high off of your heels, that is really normal. You are welcome to place as many blankets or pillows as you want in between your calves and thighs so that you feel more supported, and you can maybe let the hips sink down a little bit more. As well, you're welcome to place blankets or pillows underneath your chest or your head if that helps you feel a little bit more supported in the upper body. So lots of options to play around with, or of course you can do it no props at all. As you inhale through your nose, feel the backs of your ribs expand. And as you exhale through your nose, feel your ribs contract. While we're in this posture, you can practice what's called Ujjayi Breathing. You gently, slightly constrict your throat so that you breathe a little slower, longer, and deeper. And sometimes it actually sounds like when you put your ear to a shell at the beach. It can kind of create a calming, snoring sound that vibrates in your throat and in your chest that can help center you in class. This Ujjayi breath, the slightly constricted breath, also helps to warm up the body at the beginning of class. Let's do 3 slow Ujjayi breaths here together. From here, start to walk your hands to the right side of your mat. You are welcome to place your left hand on top of your right hand, and you can keep your forehead in between your arms. So now we're gently stretching the left side body and gently compressing the right side body. If your arms are down by your side, you can still move your head and torso a little bit to the right. Think about pressing your hips a little to the left, stretching the upper body to the right. Let's take some breaths here. When you're ready, walk your hands back to center. Pause for a moment, breathe. And now start to walk your hands to the left side of the room. You can place your right hand on top of your left hand or have the hand side by side. And let's acknowledge the elephant in the room here, which is that Yin Yoga can be a little uncomfortable. At this point, you've been working into the lower body for over 3 minutes, right? And that can be kind of intense. And that's why you want to do about 70% of what you think you should be doing. If you need to grab a blanket for under your chest or between your legs or under the knees, you're welcome to do so. Just know that breathing through a little bit of discomfort is a part of Yin Yoga, but we also want to acknowledge the difference between breathing through a little bit of discomfort versus like grinding our way through pain, right? You're never going to a point of pain or a point where you're holding your breath or making a face. Okay, from here, walk your hands back to center. Pause for a moment. From here, lift your head, look forward, bend your arms a little bit. So elbows are on the floor. Look at your arms, identify which is right, which is left. You're going to take your right hand and slide it underneath your left arm, palm face up. So right shoulder to floor, left palm to floor. You can have your forehead on the floor or look to the right. So now we're opening through the shoulder. Gently lift your head. You can bend your left arm in a little bit. Slowly unthread that needle. Reach your right arm forward, both arms forward. Take a breath, stretch. And then other side, last side, look forward, bend your elbows slightly, elbows on the floor, shoulders back. Take your left hand underneath your right arm, threading a needle. Left shoulder to floor, palm faces up, reach the right arm long. Then you can have your forehead on the floor or look to the right. Notice where you might be holding on to some tension in your body, especially as you sink into that lower body stretch. See if you can relax your muscles rather than forcing or fighting the posture. Give into it, melt into the floor. Sink into your breath, let the floor hold you up. Gently lift your head, look forward. You can bend your right arm in a little bit. Slowly unthread the needle, left arm forward. Last little breath here, reach the arms forward, sink the hips back. Inhale through your nose. If it feels good this time, open your mouth and exhale through your mouth. Let it go. Look forward once again. Slowly walk your hands in. Ooh. Walk your hands in towards your knees. You can take a moment to sit up at the top, maybe do any sort of counter stretch that feels good. Sometimes I like to interlace my fingers behind me and pull down as you look up. Good, and then slowly, leisurely, at your own pace, you're gonna turn and make your way onto your back for Savasana. Take your time. We were in that posture for a long time, especially the lower body, right? You might really be feeling it in the toes, ankles, knees, or hips right now. Now we get to lie on our back. Okay. If lying on your back with your legs straight does not feel good, you are welcome to bend your legs so that your feet are on the floor and your knees rest together. You can also place a small blanket or pillow underneath your lower back, and that will take pressure off of the lower lumbar spine. So in most styles of yoga, we call this posture Savasana or corpse pose. But in Yin Yoga, it has a slightly more playful name. It's called Cuddle Pose. And if you're in Washington, D.C., like I am right now and it's raining, there's a lot of puddles, right? It's more of a freestyle. Act like a puddle with your body. You can open your arms and legs as much or as little as you want. You can close your eyes during this time. When we hold postures for long periods of time, we don't just work into muscles, we don't just work into joints, we also work into connective tissue, into tendons, ligaments, and the fascia that kind of holds our body together. And this is a good thing, right? But it can also be kind of intense. So it's important to have this, moment of stillness in between postures to let everything reset. Okay, as you're ready, you're going to bend your legs so that your feet are on the floor if they're not already. Knees rest together. You're going to roll off to one side. Maybe take a moment on your side. There's no rush in this style of yoga. You can go slow. And then keep rolling over onto your abdomen. If you are pregnant, I will give you an alternative in a moment. We're going to take a wide-legged Sphinx. So you can have your feet about mat width distance. From here, bend your elbows so that your forearms are on the floor. You're welcome to have your elbows underneath your shoulders. This will really compress the lower spine. This can be a little intense for some folks. You can also have your arms a little bit more forward, and that'll lessen the back bend. If you are pregnant, breastfeeding, or maybe your stomach hurts today, right? Something like that. It does not feel good to be on your abdomen. We can do a nice back bend on our back using some pillows as props. And if you would like to try that alternative, maybe you're just curious, you've done Sphinx before, you've had enough of it, you want to try something new. The idea here is you're going to lie with pillows on your back. You want 1 or 2 big pillows for under your middle spine, and then a smaller pillow for your head so that your head doesn't hang all the way off. From here, you can lie back, and same thing, wide-legged this time. So the feet can be apart, you can have your arms out to the side in a big expansive gesture, or cactus light bowl pose. If you are in Sphinx pose, notice your shoulders' relationship to your ears. So one thing that I struggle with in Sphinx pose is that my shoulders tend to tense up. Push the floor away from you. In yoga or in Yin Yoga in general, we really want to relax muscles, but occasionally in a posture, there will be some activation. And in this one, it's an activation of the forearms so that the shoulders stay out of the ears and the neck stay long. We're going to hold here for 1 more minute. If you'd like, you can return to that Ujjayi breathing. Slow inhale through the nose. And slow exhale through the nose. Other than pressing down through the forearms, notice if there's a part of your body where you're holding on to unnecessary tension, like maybe in your fingers or your pelvic floor or your hamstrings. See if you can release the muscle tension there, right? So again, the elbows and forearms are pressing down, but everything else stays nice and relaxed. If you are in the back bend using pillows on your back, stay there for a little while longer. If you are in Sphinx Pose, you're going to slowly lower down. You can bend your elbows out and have your forehead on the floor. You can also look to the right, left ear on your mat. You can also take your arms down by your sides with your palms facing up. If you are on your back, there's many different ways to come out of this supported back bend. Of course, you could like awkwardly roll off to one side or push yourself up if that is in your wheelhouse or feels good to you. But another way to come out of it is to bend your knees so that your feet are on the floor. Keep the pillow underneath your head, squeeze your butt, push your feet down, lift your hips up, and remove one pillow from your middle back. Lift your hips up again, remove another pillow if you have it from the middle back. You can keep the pillow under your head if that feels good. I mean, why not? It's your practice. Or if you'd like, you can take the pillow out from under your head and be on your back for your Cuddle Pose. If you were on your abdomen in belly Savasana and you were looking to one side, gently lift your head and look to the other side, so other ears on your mat. If you are on your back in Petal Pose, bend your legs, feet on the floor, roll off to one side, maybe the side that you have not rolled off to yet, and slowly meet us in a seated position. If you're on your abdomen, lift your head, look forward, place your hands on the floor, and slowly press yourself up. Everybody together, we're going to come and sit on our butts with our feet facing forward. You're going to have your feet relatively together. If you are pregnant, you can have your feet a little bit apart here, legs a little bit apart to make room for your abdomen. And from here, we're going to do what's called caterpillar pose, where you simply fold forward. You could do this without a prop and just fold forward or round forward, or you can place as many pillows and blankets as you want in between your thighs and your chest so that you have extra support. Don't be afraid to play around with it. We're going to be here for 5 minutes, so I encourage you to take a little bit of time here to play around with how many pillows and props you want. And as we do that, I'm also going to talk you through some different stuff that you can do. So again, you can round your spine and drop your head, but sometimes this is a little bit too much on the lower back. So especially if you have a history of slip discs or an achy spine today, I'd encourage you to really wedge some pillows in between your chest and fold forward with a flat back. You can also have your hands on the floor, and you could do the same thing without props as well. But again, rather than like rounding forward, you have your hands on the floor, stick your butt out a little bit and fold forward so that your back is nice and flat. Now, if we were holding this posture for 30 seconds or a minute, right, I might tell you like flex your feet back, really pull and stretch. But this is Yin Yoga, right? Let your feet relax, stick your butt out a little bit, and just trust that by holding this for 5 minutes, you will stretch the hamstrings and the backs of the legs, even if it doesn't feel like much at first. In a couple minutes, it might feel like something, right? And again, that's part of what we're doing in Yin Yoga is long holds of postures. We're a little over halfway through in the posture. We have 2.5 minutes left. If how you're sitting or lying is not working for you, right? Maybe you're rounding your spine, starting to tug at the lower back. Think about lengthening through your spine so the back is flat. You can add or remove a prop if you need. You can take a break for a moment and then hop back into it. Again, sometimes we can be really stubborn, and even if something just doesn't feel good, or we know it's not going to feel good after class, we'll try to like grit our teeth through it. You want to avoid that in Yin Yoga. You want to be compassionate with yourself. But you also want to notice if like it's really hard to sit still at all. And I know, that's something that I have to work on a lot. I practice a lot in my own practice. Stillness does not come naturally to me. And this way, sometimes Yin Yoga, even if it's floor-based and slow, can be one of the most challenging styles of yoga. So if you relate to that, if stillness is also not super easy for you, that's okay. That's why we're here. Whenever you notice that you're fidgeting, just compassionately bring yourself back into your body, back into your breath, maybe noticing the floor beneath you, the air around you, or the quality of your breath. All you have to do is breathe. You have a minute left. As you're ready, you're going to gently lift your head if you're rounded forward. Place your hands on the floor if they weren't there already. Very slowly walk yourself up. You're there for a while. Please take your time coming in and out of the postures. Oh, I just felt my hip pop. If you'd like, you can do a little counter stretch, maybe a flash dance moment, or any other sort of movement that feels good to you. And then turn and lie on your back in your Cuddle Pose. In that posture, we stretch the backs of the legs as well as the backs of the back of the spine. Now we're letting those parts of the body kind of reset and realign. Slow inhale through your nose, feel your chest rise. If it feels good, you can open your mouth and sigh out the posture. Next, we're going to do a shoulder opener. Traditionally, you get into this posture from your abdomen. You are welcome to watch me do it, especially if you're pregnant. I'm going to show you how to do it from your abdomen, but from there we can workshop and play around a little bit about how you will get into it from your side. Once you're in the posture, it's on your side. I digress. I've talked too much. You're going to roll off to one side, roll onto your abdomen, if that feels good to you. If not, just watch it first. So this is a shoulder opener. I'm going to show it so that you can see me. So you're going to bend your right. If I'm facing this way, I'm going to bend my right arm. You pick an arm, maybe your right arm too. You're going to bend your right arm out to the right. You could have your elbow in line with your shoulder. I like to have mine further away from me, a little bit further up. From here, you're going to place your left hand on the floor close to your left shoulder and start to roll to one side. So if your right arm is bent, your left hip will stack on top of your right hip. You can bend your knees and then walk your left hand in a way that helps support it. So the hips and legs stack on top of each other. The more you bring the elbow in line with the shoulder, the deeper the shoulder opener, the more you bring the right arm up away from you, the less intense it will be. You are also welcome to place a pillow underneath your ear or underneath your chest to really help open through the shoulder. So that's how you get onto it from your stomach. If you don't want to be on your stomach at all, I would suggest rolling to one side, placing your left hand on the floor, do the right arm up, and then just roll here so that you're never coming onto the abdomen at all. Okay, we're going to hold here for 3 minutes. And if anyone is unable to get into it, feel free to just like pop up right now and I will look at you and we will workshop it together. Okay. Everybody looks like they're good. Okay, sweet. So this is a great little shoulder opener. Again, you're not forcing your body, especially if you know that you have limits with your shoulder. Take it easy. This also might be familiar for you if you were a side body sleeper. And again, you can wedge pillows in between your chest, under your head, make it your own, and then just relax your shoulder. Relax your shoulder. Relax your shoulder. Breathe. About 1 minute left. Notice where you might still be holding on to tension in the body. See if you can just let it go. Take a slow inhale through your nose. A slow exhale through your mouth. You can start by removing any pillows you're using. If you'd like, you can roll onto your abdomen and take a belly Savasana or belly Cuddle Pose. Or if being on your abdomen does not feel good for you, walk your left hand in very close to your face, press up slightly, lift your head, walk your right hand in a little bit, press up more slightly, push the floor away from you, take your time, come onto your back for your Cuddle Pose. You're on your abdomen, send deep belly breaths in and out through your nose to massage the front of your body. Breathe deep into any point of tension. Let the floor hold you up. If you're on your abdomen and looking to one side, gently lift your head and look to the other side. If you're on your back, start to tune into what parts of your body are touching the floor. Is it your outer heels, your calves or your thighs, your glutes or the backs of your ribs? Let your hands, head, and feet be heavy. Let the floor hold you up. Another fun thing about Yin Yoga is normally, right, we would just do the other side of the posture. But in Yin Yoga, sometimes you do postures in between postures just for fun. So however you're seated or lying, you're going to make your way into a seated position. I trust that you at all at this point know how to do that in your yoga practice. Okay, cool. And we're going to do what's called Dragon Pose, which is a nice hip opener. It's a little bit like a runner's lunge. So you're going to put your hands on the floor, coming into a tabletop position. Let's just take one cat-cow here just for fun. Exhale through your nose, pull your abdomen in, round your spine. Inhale through your nose, drop your abdomen down, bend your spine, look up. Good, come back into a neutral position. From here, start to lift your right foot off the floor, place your right foot in between your hands. And now start to slide your left knee back so that the back leg lengthens. Look back, notice if your left foot is going to one or the other side, you want your ankle, knee, and hip in line. If you have a tight knee, ankle, or toe, please don't hesitate to roll up your yoga mat or place a blanket or even a pillow underneath a joint that could use a little extra cushioning. That is totally fine here. Now from here, lots of options with the upper body in your Dragon Pose. You can have your hands on the floor. You can tint your fingers, or you can place your hands on your knees and lift up. We're going to hold this posture for 4 minutes. We are already a minute into it. And in another minute, I'm going to just tell you that we're halfway through, at which point you can try a different variation. So for example, if you are in a flying dragon with your hands on your knees at the halfway point, if you want to try something else, you're welcome to. Think about moving your left hip forward. This is a really great stretch for the hip flexor, the outer side seat. Then there is a little bit of activation here. You want to keep your shoulders out of your ears, your neck long, your breath slow and steady. In and out through the nose. Last week we did a pigeon pose, which in Yin Yoga is called swan pose, prettier, which is a good entry into doing the splits one day. Dragon Pose is also a good entry into doing the splits one day, right? You're opening into that hip flexor. Okay, with 2 minutes left, if what you're doing is working for you, stay here. Otherwise, if you want to try another variation, something else you could try would be coming down onto your forearms and letting the knee come out to the side. Again, activate the elbows and forearms so the shoulders stay out of the ears. This posture is tricky for me. It is hard to like relax and breathe in a posture like this, right? And again, there is some activation maybe through the front foot or through the elbows or shoulders. But the goal here is to see what parts of your body you don't need to be squeezing and relax into them, right? So think about relaxing muscles rather than forcing or fighting. We've got about 1 minute left. If you're a little uncomfortable, I'm right there with you. Okay. You're going to press yourself up, placing your hands on either sides of your foot. Slowly bring your hips back. There's no rush. If you'd like, you can do any sort of counter stretch that feels good, including maybe sinking your hips down, lengthening that front leg, folding forward. This is kind of the freestyle moment in class. Okay, lift your hips again. Slowly come back into a tabletop position. Remove any pillows or blankets that you might have been using under your body and turn, lie on your back, cuddle pose. Sometimes the release from a posture can be as intense as the posture itself. And particularly in hip openers and back bends, which we've done a few of, right? You really start to release some tension from the body, which can come up in physical ways, like a muscle relaxing or cramping. Or it can come up in like emotional, psychological, or spiritual ways, right? You might have a certain like emotion play across your mind, or like an urge to cry or to laugh, right? Or something like that. So whatever you feel is normal. There's nothing wrong with you. If nobody's told you this yet today, there's nothing wrong with you. Inhale through your nose and exhale to your nose. Let's do the other side of our open shoulder posture, which pairs nicely, I think, with the dragon. So again, there's two ways to do this. You can roll onto your abdomen. Do the opposite sides. On this side, I'm going to bend my left arm up. Again, you can have the arm kind of up and away from you. Right hand to floor. Roll to the whatever side that is. So right hip on top of left hip. You can also just start on your side. Walk your hand forward and slowly roll down. And again, you are welcome to place a pillow underneath your head. You're welcome to wedge some pillows in between your chest and the floor to really help the shoulder open. We will hold here for 3 minutes. This side might feel different from the other side. We're not symmetrical, and that's okay. You don't need to be symmetrical to practice yoga, right? If you need to add or remove a pillow or do a little less on this side or maybe go a little deeper, that is wonderful. Once you've found yourself in a suitable position, just relax and breathe. About halfway through. Okay. Start by looking forward. Remove any props you might have. You can either roll onto your abdomen or carefully, slowly press yourself up and then turn onto your back. Yogi's choice. If you're on your abdomen and looking to one side, gently lift your head and look to the other. As you're ready, you're going to slowly make your way back into a seated position. No rush. Then we're going to come back into our tabletop. And we'll take another cat-cow just for fun. Why not, right? Exhale around your spine like an angry cat. Drop your head, tuck your tailbone. And as you inhale, you're going to round your spine, move your hips up, lift your chin and chest. Let your abdomen hang heavy. And then come back into a neutral position for our other side of dragon. So if you put your right foot in front on the other side, you're going to put your left foot on front on this side, foot between the hands. And as you're ready, you're going to start to slide your leg back. And again, don't be shy about placing as many blankets or pillows or a rolled up mat underneath your back knee or back ankle or toe as you need. Look back, make sure that your ankle, knee, and hip are in line so your foot's not going way to one side. We're going to hold here for 4 minutes. And lots of variations. You can start with your flying dragon, which always makes me want sushi. You can start with your flying dragon and then come down into a leaning forward dragon or vice versa. And on the one hand, we're not symmetrical. So maybe on the other side, staying lifted was accessible and on this side, it's not. That's totally normal. That being said, if you can kind of mirror what you did on both sides, right, that might help you be like a little less lopsided. Keep the shoulders out of the ears. Notice where you might be holding on to unnecessary tension in the body. I know it's hard. Try to let it go. We're about halfway through. You can stay just as you are, or maybe try another variation. And it is all right to have the knee come out a bit here. About 1 minute left. Okay, as you're ready, you're going to press your upper body into a neutral position. Please take your time, coming slowly. Bring your hips back. Again, if you'd like a counter stretch, you can do your own, whatever feels good to you. I'm going to sink my hips back, lengthen the front leg, and fold forward for a moment. Make your way back into tabletop. And then turn, lie on your back. Cuddle Pose. So in general, in yoga, we want to breathe through the nose. Exhaling through the nose in particular brings the body into the parasympathetic nervous system response, telling the body that there's no need to fight, flight, freeze, or fawn. However, sometimes, especially in Yin Yoga, like that posture was intense for me. I don't know about you. Sometimes it can feel good to sigh it out from time to time. So if you'd like here, take an inhale through your nose. Open your mouth and sigh it out. We're going to in class one of two ways. We're either going to do a short spine twist or a short side body stretch. If you have a back injury where your doctor has told you not to practice a spine twist, and or you are pregnant and your doctor has not cleared you to practice a spine twist, you're going to do a side body stretch called banana pose. I'll walk you through that first, and then we'll do the spine twist if you'd like. So for banana pose, you're going to have your feet together, arms overhead. Picture a banana in your mind's eye, and you're going to make that shape with your body. You're going to walk your hands and feet to the right side of the room, stretching the left side body, compressing the right side body. You can bend your elbows and catch opposite hand and elbow. You can have your arms straight with one hand on top of the other. Or for an IT band stretch, you can cross your left foot on top of your right foot. So that's option one. Maybe banana pose just sounds really good to you today. Go ahead and do that. If you want to do a spine twist to close out class, you can bend your legs so your feet are on the floor if they're not already. You can have your arms out to the side in a big expansive gesture, or bend your elbows, cactusing like goalposts. And from here, roll to the right so your left shoulder is on the floor, left hip stacks on top of right hip. You can keep your head on the floor or roll your left ear down towards the floor to stretch the neck as well. We're only going to hold here for 1 minute, whether you're in banana pose or your spine twist. If you are in your banana pose, uncross any hands or feet that have been crossed. Slowly walk your hands and feet back to the center line of your body. You can stretch up and down for a moment, maybe flex your toes back like you're having a good yawn. And then walk your hands and feet to the left side of the room, stretching the other side body. If you're in spine twist and you're looking towards the left with your left ear on the floor, Start by rolling your head back so the back of your head is on the floor. From here, carefully roll your left hip back down. Take a moment, feet on the floor, and then roll to the other side. So right hip stacks on top of left hip, right shoulder on the floor. You can keep the back of your head on the floor or look to the right, rolling your right ear down. You're in the spine twist, right? It's a nice way to reset your back at the end of class. Also an abdominal wall twist, good for digestion. And if you are in banana pose, it's just such a wonderful way to really wake up the spine, stretching one side body, compressing the other side body. It's also a really nice gentle shoulder and chest opener. And if your right leg on this side is crossed on top of your left leg, you'll stretch the right IT band on the outer thigh. If you were in banana pose, uncross any hands or feet. Walk your hands and feet back to the center line of your body. Again, you can stretch up and down for a moment like you're having a good yawn. And then slowly make your way into your final Savasana or final Cuddle Pose. If you're in spine twist and you're looking to the right, roll your head back to center. Slowly with control, press your bottom foot out so the right hip comes down, arms and legs down. Final Savasana, final Cuddle Pose. If you'd like, you can place a blanket over your body. You can put, get a pillow under your lower back, under your knees, under your head. Make this your own. Take up as much or as little space as you want. And take a deep, life-giving breath. There's something you're still holding on to that's no longer serving you. Maybe it never did. This is an invitation just to let it go. Maybe not forever, but just for a few breaths. And if you find that letting go of something, whether it's a physical tightness in the body or something that you're holding on to in your, emotional, psychological, or spiritual body, if you find that that thing is just impossible to let go of right now, that's okay. I'm going to invite you to imagine what it might feel like if you were to let it go. So sometimes we just, put that idea in our head, or we imagine what it might feel like if the shoulder finally relaxed, or what it might feel like if we finally let go of that resentment, right? It doesn't have to happen today. Sometimes we hold on to things for a reason, but it's nice to envision just what that will feel like someday, right? Take a slow inhale through your nose. Open your mouth and anything you want to sigh out. Let it go with the exhale breath. Stay in your final Savasana for as long as you'd like. When you do start to get up slowly. We've been on the floor for a while. So, maybe you sit up for a while before you stand up. If you've ever gotten a professional massage, afterwards they always give you water, right? Because they've really worked through the muscles and joints and all that stuff. Same thing with Yin Yoga. Make sure that you're drinking a lot of water tonight because we did really work into your body, even if in the moment it didn't always feel like the deepest stretch. Although at some points in class, I felt quite stretched. I don't know about you. Have a wonderful evening. If you ever have any questions about yoga, I'm happy to talk to you via email or before or after class. It's great to be here with you all. Thanks, friends.